Hey everybody, it's Janet, and I'm so glad to have you here with me for this branding webinar. This is a subject that really helped me in my business, and so I hope that you get a lot out of it as well. So this is me in a nutshell, and what I do is I coach entrepreneurs to cultivate order, peace, and prosperity. I help entrepreneurs develop their solutions in a peaceful, easy, effortless way, right? So as you can tell, by the sound of my voice, it's really important for me for you to feel confident and relaxed and just know for real that you can definitely do it. Now let's talk about our quick 3-part agenda. This is going to be a 30-minute webinar, and we're going to be covering the subjects of what branding really is, why it's important to clarify your branding, and also how can you find your true authentic brand. Before we begin, please know that most of this slide presentation isn't going to be about facts and figures. At the end, you might want to take some notes, but really in the beginning, I just really want you to stay present and focus with me, because as we talk about branding, you're going to see that it's much more than what we think it is, okay? Also, please know that I'm recording this to be an on-demand webinar. However, on Webinar Wednesdays, I'll be there with you live on the chat. So if you have any questions on Wednesdays, you can always feel free to pop them in. Any other day where you're taking it as an on-demand webinar, you can also email me and I'll receive your email right away. It buzzes right to my phone, and I'll definitely be on the lookout for you taking the class, okay? I want to make sure to support you 100% as you learn more about branding. Because you signed up for this webinar, that tells me you might be interested in maybe having a lucrative niche as well, or creating your signature system or your packagings. Whatever it is, I'm going to invite you to those webinars or offers as well. You can always find me at mymoneypivot.com. And for me, I'm an open book. Please give me your feedback, good or bad. It's okay. I always try my best to teach you in the way that you need. And of course, it's really hard because we don't have our back and forth, face to face in person. But I think this is the next best thing. It's just that we need to keep communication clear between us. Okay, so branding. Okay, so branding, it for me, like I said before, is it's really important to come to our solutions in a peaceful way, kind of like we're stumbling toward it. So there's this wonderful, beautiful park in my town. It's called the Elizabeth Park Rose Garden, and it's a public rose garden that's, I think it's one of the biggest in the United States. And so what I like to do when I'm walking around in this park, and I don't know if you have a place like this, is I love to just kind of, sink my feet into the ground, sometimes take my shoes off, stand in the middle, and just kind of breathe in the surroundings, breathe in the beauty of the space. And so for a minute, let's just do that together, because I want your energy as you go into this class to be really centered and focused. Okay, so in your mind's eye, picture yourself in a beautiful garden and take off your shoes. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. I know this isn't your typical, webinar PowerPoint, but that's okay. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Now smile. Okay? Our time together isn't about jamming in the information, because you can always go back to this, or when we work together, we'll cover it again. So be peaceful here, right? All is well. Okay. So that's my brand energy. It's important for me to help you get to that space. Okay. Now let's talk about other spaces when it comes to branding. Okay, number one, I think you know this picture maybe. This is Disney World. This is Main Street, Disney World. You know, when you go into the park and you look straight, you see this gorgeous castle up ahead, and the sidewalks are full of people and characters, you know, Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, Pluto, and it's just a beautiful space. Years ago, my family went to Disney for the holidays, and it was just a wonderful experience of music and smells and sights and green and red. It was really gorgeous. So think of Disney's brand, okay? And think of, how does Disney make you feel? Okay? And do you want more of that? You know, do you want more of that Disney energy? Okay. So let's go to the next slide. When we see this blue and this white, this clean blue and white, how does it make you feel? You know, it makes you feel rich maybe, or treated very well. It's a great brand color. And with that said, branding does go beyond the logo, the color, and the fonts. But where Tiffany wins here is that it evokes an emotion, right? It evokes emotions, and you have a feeling about Tiffany's when you see the box, okay? Now let's go to the next picture. Okay, now this is a Harley. I've never ridden a motorcycle before. I love my motorcycle shows, but I've never actually ridden a motorcycle. Okay, so what's the brand promise of Harley? Okay, put yourself in this person's shoes who's sitting on this bike and riding. You have this feeling of wind in your hair, you know, being exhilarated, being excited. There's this feeling of freedom and promise of an adventure, right? And also fun. You know, the journey isn't going to be a boring journey. The journey is going to be fun. And so that's the emotional trigger that Harley Davidson gets you to have. Okay, when you hear that name, that's usually what you think about is freedom and fun. Now, when it comes to branding, branding has to be a clear connection. It's a message where my puzzle piece easily fits your puzzle piece, right? 1 + 1 is 2. And the emotions work, right? So let's go back. So Harley Davidson's emotion is to help you feel excitement and freedom, right? Now, do you feel excitement and freedom when you sit on that bike? If you are a bike person, then absolutely, right? So that's a puzzle piece right there, okay? Now, when you don't have a clear match or a clear connection, it is really hard because it's really difficult to come up with, especially when we are stressed out, especially when we're freaked out and maybe we haven't closed sales as easily as we thought it would be. Now, what happens with this, and I've certainly been there before, is that we're trying to solve what our brand is with logic, you know, and that doesn't really work because you're trying to convey motion with a logical solution, and that doesn't always connect. Okay, so now have you ever had a sales conversation where the beginning was pretty good and then it slowly went downhill, and at the end maybe that other person looked kind of like this person? What emotions are you feeling? Let's see. So they're probably feeling confusion, doubt, curiosity, suspect, you know, and they're really trying hard to grasp what it is you're trying to sell them. So in this situation, you haven't been able to establish a connection. You've come at them with logic, and perhaps they're not an expert in this subject like you are, okay? And what you really had to do instead was to go lead with emotion, okay? And not just emotion, but put the center of the focus on the transformation that they experience when they work with you, okay? How are they going to benefit from working with you or your time together? Okay, so that is the key word of today. Please write that down if you're taking notes here. Transformation. You need to establish a connection, a brand promise, saying that I get you 100%. I will take you from step 1 to step 10. And it's going to be a positive ride. It's going to be emotional, and we're going to connect, and we're going to do this together. Okay, so think of transformation. Now, it's not that easy. Let me tell you, I have certainly had terrible, terrible situations where people couldn't get me. And it was because I was coming from a logical standpoint, okay? So I'm trying to say, hey, I'm Janet. I'm a business coach. I teach you how to find money in your business. I teach you how to give back and pay it forward, how to be strategic, how to analyze your profit and loss, how to organize. And I was so frustrated because I felt really in my heart that I was being really clear here. And the frustration was that they just weren't getting me. And I think the more that I felt frustrated, the more they felt frustrated. And it really wasn't a good energy where people could say, yes, like, I want to work with you. I mean, look at this person's face. I don't think I'd want to work with somebody who looks like that either. And that's what the problem of having an unclear brand message is. It's just true frustration, true overwhelm. Now, let's talk about the problems that I had with my brand before, and these might be some problems that you have as well. Number 1 is messaging. For me, my message was very scattered. It was very disorganized. It wasn't in layman's terms. As much as I thought that it wasn't in layman's terms. That's why you need somebody outside of yourself to help you kind of pinpoint those words that people don't normally get, you know? And so that's where frustration comes in, okay? It's a poor communication between you and the next person. So here's a testimonial I want to share with you. I had such trouble coming up with my true message. I overthink things so that makes sense. Thanks for a straightforward branding session. I'm very clear now. Okay, so this person, straight A student, type A personality, very logical, very great with their numbers. They're an overthinker. Okay, and remember, when people choose to buy with us, they don't choose through logic, they choose through emotion. And so this person was coming across kind of like a robot, or somebody who was kind of making the person feel less than. And so it was really important to sit down with her and come up with a true message of the transformation. Okay, now here's another problem that I dealt with that you might deal with as well. Emotional. Okay, so let's be clear about that. The frustration that happens because of miscommunication, that's not the emotion we're talking about. We want to touch their heart, right? We want to touch their emotion, and we want to assure them and say, like, hey, I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels. You're not alone in this. We're going to work on it together. Okay, so think of that, big sigh of relief. Think of like how their shoulders might kind of drop down, and they feel self-assured, and they feel that you have what they need, and that it could be very easy to work with you. Okay, so make sure that when you are coming up with your brand, remember, it's beyond just logo, color, fonts, but it's also about the emotion that they feel when they connect with you. Okay, let's go through this next testimonial. This next testimonial is thanks for helping me own what I love and how I care about helping others. Those that get it really get me, and I love working with them. So for me, I'm a person who grew up working in my family's manufacturing business. Then I went to business school. Then I went back to run the factory. Okay. The word love wasn't anywhere to be seen in any of the curriculum or networking meetings. Okay. Love just wasn't there. Okay. It's not part of traditional business sense. However, when it comes to working with one another, we're human beings, right? We're not robots. And so it's important to have that connection, a positive connection. Okay. Now, here is the third issue that I had, okay, and you might have it as well, is the idea of being authentic. Now, I know the idea of authentic has been around for 10 years or so now with all of the coaches, but let me tell you what that means, okay? So for me, my problem was that I was always afraid to be emotional in business because I thought that being emotional would just kind of highlight, hey, Janet's a woman. Okay. She's, a small Asian person. And I just didn't feel like that emotions would show a strong character. Okay. However, the truth is that I am a really empathetic, emotional person. Okay, I'm soft-spoken. I'm 4'10". I don't have a big, booming, loud male voice. I'm very encouraging. I believe encouraging people and making people feel confident. And so that's my authenticity. So if I tried to come and sell to you being the big, ego, big man, booming voice, it's not going to resonate with you because that's not who I am. And not only that, it would just kind of like suck the power out of me. And it doesn't make for a fun business. So let me share with you the next testimonial. And this is one of my favorites. I worked with Ashlyn, who's a holistic healer. And she said, I thought I had to change myself to fit in. Now I've learned that being myself is much more relatable and attractive to others. So for Ashlyn, when she wanted to go and join the Chamber of Commerce and network, she thought she had to buy, gray professional suits and have, the business card and put her hair back and, get less bright makeup. But however, Ashlyn's a playful person. She's very fun. I think she referred to herself as a hippie. And she loves bright colors. She loves laughing really loud. And so the beauty of this is that now when she goes out and she networks, she could be herself. Even if she's in a room of 10 gray suits, she could be herself. And you know what? The other people in the room, to them, that's a breath of fresh air because she is showing that it's safe and more than okay to stand out and to be yourself. And so I love that experience. Now, let me offer this to you. I would love to work with you on your branding. If you're struggling with coming up with what your true brand is, that's what I work with. Okay, so it doesn't really take much time. We can actually come up with your brand in only a half day. So usually it takes 4 hours to do. We'll do it online and the date is flexible. We'll schedule it within the next 2 weeks. And the investment for this is $297. So it's always going to be a group process because it could either be you and me, so that's a group, or if others join us as well, that can be great because then you two could pair up and you can help one another flesh out your brand. Okay, so I strongly believe in working with at least one other person to create your authentic brand promise. Okay, now here's some key deliverables that you get. Okay, so we're not just touchy-feely, like yes, we are touchy-feely, but you're also definitely going to receive key phrases adjectives, messaging. You're also going to receive visuals. What can you do to convey your brand? And what kind of people, resonate with your brand? Okay, remember, this has to be deeply emotional and of a good connection for them so that they feel that transformation that you can help them experience. Okay, but all of this at the same time, it needs to be wrapped in a space where it's really authentically you. You're serving them in a way that is just your style and nobody else's. Now, what do I mean by that? When we work on your brand, first we're going to do an assessment. Okay, and the assessment is going to tell me a little bit more about your personality and what you value. Together, we're going to focus on discovering your unique brilliance. Okay, what do you stand for? Who do you stand for? Okay, for me, I stand for being encouraging. Okay, what's your expertise? Okay, what is your brand promise? What's your brand message? Okay, how can you market consistently and effectively so you can close sales with people that you enjoy? And I'll even say it, how can you do that with people you love? So all of that, we're going to cover so much within just a half day. Now, I just want to say to you, when it comes to groups, I like to keep my groups small. So at most 6 people per group. And so if that sounds like something you're interested in, I recommend that you sign up quickly. And also with the investment of $297, this is the investment that I can hold for 2021 for this year. However, next year, that investment is going to go up. And so it's important for you to sign up now if this sounds like something that's important to you as you start off the new year. So let me just leave you with a few questions, okay? What if you could clarify and lead with your brand? Okay, and write this down. How would a clear brand that's emotional and clear and transformative, how would it impact your business? Okay, I'm talking about closing sales, increasing your profits, working with people that you enjoy. Okay, so really journal on that. If you're unsure, especially about working with me now as opposed to later, how would it impact your business? Also, how would this affect your relationships? When we're frustrated in our small business, we tend to take that frustration home. And it's no fun to be with us, right? But when you're doing a job or you're having a business that you enjoy and that you love, imagine bringing that home, right? That energy home. So please journal on that. How would it affect your relationships? And number 3, how would it make a difference in your life? Okay, so a big thing that I believe in is helping my entrepreneur clients succeed so that they create freedom for themselves and the ones they love. Okay, so what does freedom mean to you and the ones that you love? Okay, is it less stress around paying bills? Is it a new neighborhood? Is it a new school? Or perhaps is it more trips to the beach? Okay, really journal on that and see what you come up with. Okay, now with that, I'm going to let you go. Please email me and let me know what you think. And also feel free to connect anytime regarding this subject or any. I'm really curious to know what's going on with you. Okay, have a great day. Bye.